Hey everybody, welcome to
Hello.
Straight to Me BP1 and BP2.
Here we go.
We are here with a request by the lovely Amanda. Amanda A, thank you Amanda. She has some great requests. And this one is the story of Pat Tillman's football career and death.
Don't know. I mean, as I say, I've sort of watched quite a bit of documentaries on American football, etc. Don't know Pat Tillman or his story, so yeah, we'll just sort of let it roll out in front of us. I mean, can see the quote there: "Will people see me as an honest man, hardworking man, family man, a good man?" I mean, most of us probably ask ourselves that question anyway, won't we?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So
this is going to be a bit of a long one, so we're going to do it in two-parters.
Yes, this one's obviously come out at lunchtime. Lunchtime for us in the UK is probably early hours for you in the US, and then the second part will be out later at our normal time. All right,
brilliant. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Me as an honest man, a hard-working man, a family man, and a good man, can I become the man I envision? Is vision and follow-through enough? How important is talent and blind luck? There are no true answers, just shades of gray, coincidence, and circumstance. Pat Tillman. Loyalty, respect, integrity. Pat Tillman, an NFL player and an Army Ranger, embodied those three words and any other word that describes honor interchangeably. Pat was most loyal to his country, but did his own nation and its military leaders turn their back on him, leading to his untimely death? There are a few storylines of the post 9/11 time period that have been considered more disgraceful towards the military than how Pat Tillman's death while in combat was handled, along with how the Tillman family was treated as they searched for the whole truth behind how Pat Tillman died in battle. Today we discuss the life and career of Pat Tillman, one of the most remarkable come-from-behind stories in NFL history that ended in absolute tragedy and an even bigger mystery. Now, before we get to the content, guys, I wanted to give you a little heads up. A lot of these videos end up getting demonetized, which is okay with me, but when a video gets demonetized, typically they don't show up in your recommended feed. So make sure you turn on my notification bell, leave a like and subscribe, just so you could continue to see my content. That's honestly the only thing I care about. On top of that, I live stream on Twitch on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and I'm giving away multiple copies of Madden 21 on my Twitter account and my Instagram account. Now that we got all of that out of the way, break!
Okay. It takes a lot. He puts the video together, so you know.
Yeah.
Pat Tillman stood at 5'11", just under 200 pounds, born and raised in Northern California, son to Pat Sr., a lawyer, and Mary, a special education teacher, where he led the Leland High School football team to a Central Coast Division I championship. Pat was a linebacker who also had a love for literature. His stature was small for the specific football position of linebacker, but good enough to earn the last defensive scholarship spot from Arizona State University. Tillman came into Tempe with a slightly shaggy, sandy California hairstyle, an anvil jaw, and although still deemed undersized in college, he excelled at his position and as a team leader for the Sun Devils. Pat learned playbooks and opposing offensive schemes quickly, and he could tackle the fastest special teams returner, but he also enjoyed debating about religion, politics, and other scholarly topics, which is uncharacteristic of a Division I football player. Pat underwent shoulder surgery after his freshman year, but rehabbed quickly to make 47 tackles in his sophomore season, appearing as a top reserve and not just on special teams. During his junior year in 1997, Tillman had decided to shave his head and matured into a respected leader of his team. He started 11 games and led ASU to the Rose Bowl during an undefeated season while also earning Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. Former ASU teammate Jeremy Stats said, although Tillman was only 5'10" or 5'11" and 200 pounds, he played like he was 260 pounds. He wasn't the fastest player on the team, but he played the game smart. He wasn't going to chase you from behind, but he would use angles and leverage and out-pursue you by playing the game smart. During his senior year, Pat led the team in tackles, was named MVP, second team All-American, and completed a career that would be good enough for a future induction into the College Football Hall of Fame. Pat was what a student athlete aspired to be, earning numerous academic honors and completing his degree in just 3.5 years with a 3.85 GPA. He was selected in the 1998 NFL Draft to the Arizona Cardinals with their 7th round pick, 226th overall. Extremely talented, but considered too small to be a linebacker in the NFL, Tillman moved to the safety position. And Pat made a positive impact right away by starting 10 out of 16 games as a rookie, while also pursuing a master's degree in history. In 2000, he was named Sporting News NFL All-Pro with 155 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 9 pass deflections, and an interception that he took back for 30 yards.
Okay, we'll quickly stop it there halfway through this one. So obviously getting to know a bit about Pat, who he was, where he came from. Seems like a really good player. Against all the odds, isn't it? It's sort of he's building it up against the sort of he's only this tall. He didn't weigh massive.
5'11", 200 is not big for for defensive. At least they're sort of most of them are all over the 6 foot mark, aren't they? But good stats and smart player as well.
A smart guy.
Very. All the academia as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Let's keep going. Yeah, we're learning. We don't know much about Pat at all, so let's learn.
Pat was without a doubt a late draft gem and an NFL star, but still the unique Pat as he turned down a $9 million contract from the St. Louis Rams to stay loyal to the small market, mediocre Arizona Cardinals and pushed himself in another direction while still on a football roster. Pat Tillman trained and ran a marathon during that offseason, and then the following year set his goal even higher by completing the Blackwater Eagleman Triathlon in Maryland, which was a half Ironman event that served as a qualifier for the legendary Hawaiian Ironman. Why was he competing in an endurance event just a few months after he had 224 tackles for the Arizona Cardinals? What was his rationale for such a difficult endeavor while other NFL players were spending their vacation time laying on the beach? Pat said it was just for the challenge. In the beginning of the 2001 NFL season, the world would change drastically for Americans following the September 11th terror attacks. Pat Tillman watched the events unfold in the Arizona Cardinals media room on that Tuesday morning, and shortly after the attacks, Tillman, a reflective man who used to climb light posts in college to sit, view the landscape, and meditate, told a reporter,
my great-grandfather was at Pearl Harbor, and a lot of my family has gone and fought in wars, and I really haven't done a damn thing as far as laying myself on the line like that, and so I have a great deal of respect for those that have and what the flag stands for.
In Pat's mind, he was ready to do something bigger than the NFL. He was ready to pursue a career that would drastically change his life and unfortunately end his life far too soon. Pat played the remaining games of that season with a heavy mind and heart. 8 months after the Twin Towers fell, and shortly after returning home from his honeymoon, Pat Tillman turned down a $3.6 million NFL contract from the Arizona Cardinals, traded his cleats and his number 40 jersey in for combat boots by enlisting in the U.S. Army alongside his brother Kevin. The duo committed themselves to a 3-year term as Army Airborne Rangers, a job that was just as dangerous as it was mentally and physically demanding. Pat Tillman instantaneously became the icon of patriotism. Secretary of State Donald Rumsfeld even sent him a personal note commending his bravery. The government was giddy that his name and testimony would promote the war on terror, which would hopefully conjure up future recruits. However, Tillman, once out of a football uniform and into desert camo, immediately stopped talking to the media. He didn't want this to be about him or his sacrifices. Pat Tillman didn't enlist because he felt an overwhelming rush of patriotism fall over him. He didn't seek to be revered as an athlete turned hero. Representing the American flag was in his bloodline. Pat understood the freedom that these men from his family and countless other men and women who had served in the military had given him, the freedom to be who he wanted to be. Pat and Kevin's first deployment came in 2003 to Iraq to support Operation Iraqi Freedom. Tillman had been known to be vocal against the Iraqi war, but he honorably fulfilled his duty that he signed up for. During the Freedom Mission, Pat and Kevin served as important backups in freeing Jessica Lynch. It was found in Tillman's journal that he wrote regarding the buildup of forces around the Lynch rescue was proposed to be a big public relations stunt. Little did he know that a year later, there may have been another stunt conducted in which he would be the center focal point. After returning home for a short time, in 2004, the Tillman brothers were deployed to Afghanistan for Operation Enduring Freedom. The duo was located in the eastern part of the country, near Khost, in an operation called Mountain Storm. It was the evening of April 22nd, 2004. The sun was setting and 27-year-old Pat Tillman would soon take his last breath. According to first reports, there was suddenly an ambush with Pat providing covering fire for fellow soldiers as they escaped from the Rocky Canyon. That ambush led to the tragic death of Pat Tillman and an Afghan contractor in Pat's unit, who was donned in an American uniform, and a fellow radio operator was wounded. Pat's brother Kevin was in another vehicle behind his brother just down the road, but heard gunfire and was soon told that Pat had been killed. The story Kevin was given at the time was that Pat died while stepping out of a vehicle confronting enemy troops. Kevin was quickly flown back to Bagram Air Base and a short time later accompanied his brother's remains back to the United States. The first official report from the military regarding Tillman's death read, he ordered his team to dismount, then maneuvered the Rangers up a hill near the enemy's location. Tillman directed his team into firing position and personally provided suppressive fire. Through the firing, Tillman's voice was heard issuing commands to take the fight to the enemy forces.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll leave that as part one. So obviously, yeah, what a change. I mean, you know, the events in 9/11 obviously had a profound meaning for a lot of people, and for him it was, I need to go and, you know, support my country against evil. So yeah, I mean, and here we're only halfway through, so obviously there's a reason behind this. So
he's set the scene. I mean, he's mentioned a couple of times that Tillman thought, you know, a lot of it was sort of media based and not all true. So he's obviously, you know, not just taking everything at face value, being the smart cookie is. And as you mentioned, after those events, I mean, recruitment offices around you know, America were full with people sort of stepping up to do their bit. And you know, sadly, a lot of youngsters didn't come back home. So we'll see what's coming up in part two. No spoiler alerts, because we don't have a clue.
No.
There you go.
No. There you go. That's part one. So part two will be out later on. So there's a little teaser for you. I don't know how much you know about Pat.
Pat Tillman, Arizona Cardinals. He's looked like he's having a good career. Take care.
A lot of money, wasn't it, mate? In the old college football.
Yep.
Hey, that's not even NFL standard. It's like he was getting offered 3.9 million.
That's NFL.
Oh, it was NFL, was it?
Yeah.
A lot of money in NFL.
And that's on that bombshell.
See you later. It's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from him.